Welcome back, guys. This is a decode kind of to add on to what I presented earlier this morning. And in that last video, I was talking about the clear ritual that yesterday night's Ohio State-Georgia game was paying to the shootings that happened last year in 2022. Because we had a bunch of different shootings last year, and how this kicker who missed a 50-yard field goal literally at the strike of midnight of the new year, right? He literally kicks this field goal seconds before the new year, and then it goes horribly wide to the left just as the new year starts. And if you guys don't understand, please go back and watch the last video. But in this video, I just want to focus on his name, Noah, okay? And the reason I want to focus on his name, Noah, is because he misses this field goal to start the year 2023. Okay, like everyone's attention in the United States, at least, is on this game, and the first few seconds of 2023, a guy named Noah misses a 50-yard field goal. And what's interesting, guys, is that in Japan, just hours later, there was an event called Noah. And this event was a wrestling event which featured Shinsuke Nakamura defeating the Great Muta. And this is the Great Muta, his retirement tour, which means he's having his final matches before he retires. He's 60 years old. He's the guy on the left with the mask. Notice the green mist that's blacking out their eyes. I'm going to get to that in a minute. But the main connection I want to make here first is the kicker Noah missing a field goal to start the new year in the United States, and an event called Noah in Japan happening just literally a couple hours after. All right. And again, guys, I told you that on January 13th, Friday the 13th, 2023, Biden and the Prime Minister for Japan are supposed to be meeting. And again, this is 189 days after Shinzo Abe, the former Japanese Prime Minister, was assassinated on the 189th day of 2022. So 189 days after the Japanese Prime Minister was assassinated on the 189th day of the year. Okay? And then supposedly the current Prime Minister of Japan and Joe Biden, the United States and Japan are meeting. Just like Noah in the United States misses a field goal, and a wrestler in Japan at the Noah event loses a match in the same, essentially in a few hours, right? So, with that being said, I had to look into this wrestler because he's a Japanese wrestler. I don't know a lot about him. But notice that his real name is Keiji Muto. And that's going to be important to remember here. And the most important thing is that he's Japanese, and he was wrestling in an event called Noah in Japan hours after Noah misses a field goal for Ohio State. But before I get to more about him, I want to talk about the element nahonium, because I made a community post about this element and how it's tied to Japan. Well, first of all, the element is named after Japan. The name refers to the Japanese name for Japan, which is Nihon. Okay? Nihon. But I want you guys to notice that I've been talking about January 13th, which is written 113. The element nihonium has an atomic number of 113, just like January 13th. Okay? And again, the Japanese Prime Minister is supposed to be meeting with Biden on January the 13th. Now, knowing what we know about this element being named after Japan and having the 113, let's tie it to this Japanese wrestler who was wrestling yesterday. All right? So notice that his name, Keiji Muto, is a 113 and 41. Just like the element nahonium equals 113 and 41. Remember, guys, 41 is the 13th prime number. Okay, so not only is the 113 tied to this, but remember, nahonium is in the group 13 on the periodic table. So you're telling me that this Japanese wrestler equals 113 and 41, and the Japanese element equals 113 and 41, and nahonium, the element, is 113, and it's on the 13th group of the periodic table. Okay, and remember, 41 is the 13th prime. Not only is that, nahonium equals 103, and if you drop the 0 in numerology, that's another 13. Okay? So, with that being said, let's go back now to North Korea firing a ballistic missile over Japan on October 3rd, 2022. Notice that the date October 3rd is written just like the value of nahonium, which is 103. Is how you in the United States is how we write October 3rd. All right? And what are the chances that nahonium, this Japan news, is in the news on October 3rd, and nahonium equals 103, and exactly 103 days after October 3rd is January 13th, like 113. You see? And not only that, but if you go 10 days after the October ballistic missile over Japan, you get October 13th, which if you drop the 0 is written 113, just like January 13th. And from October 13th to January 13th is 13 weeks. I'm sure you guys see the pattern. All right, what are the chances? And again, guys, it's 13 weeks from October 13th to January 13th. And October 13th is the 286th day of the year. And nahonium has a 286 mass. Okay? And again, it's in the 13th group. It's 13 weeks between the 113 and the 113. Nahonium has the number 113. And 113 October 13th is the 286th day of the year, and nahonium has the 286th weight. Do you see how scripted it is with this element? Okay? Now, let me bring all this together, because now I want to talk about, well, first of all, this is just to verify that the word Japan in Nihon is how you translate Japan and that's how what Japan sounds like in Japanese, Nihon. Just like the element, nahonium. So now, I had an idea. So with all these 13s, why don't I go back exactly 13 years before January 13th, 2023? And that lands you on January 13th, 2010, which is the exact day that an American singer named Teddy Pendergrass died. And he was famous for a song called Turn Off the Lights. And that made me think, guys, there's been lots of power outage predictive programming. Just go watch a lot of my videos on my channel. And now you have this guy 13 years before January 13, 2023, on January 13, 2010, dying, and he's famous for the song Turn Off the Lights. And this is where it all comes together, guys. So here's the song Turn Off the Lights by Teddy Pendergrass, released on June 23rd, 1979, okay? But what I want you guys to notice is that not only did Teddy Pendergrass sing the song Turn Off the Lights, but on January 28th, 2023, WWE is having a first ever match called the Pitch Black Match. And the Pitch Black Match, again, is a direct reference to a blackout. Okay, just like Turn Off the Lights. Now, LA Knight is the one in this match. There's literally a wrestler in this match called LA Knight. Get it? Like Los Angeles Knight. Okay? And so, what are the chances? Again, this is so scripted, guys. Absolutely so scripted. Alright? And so let me bring all this together. Because October 20th, 2022 was the day that Kamala Harris, and I've been talking a lot about Kamala Harris and her connections to all of this, because she's obviously a black American woman, okay? Teddy Pendergrass saying turn off the lights. He was also black, alright? But I want you to notice the connection that all these things have. So, Kamala Harris was born on October 20th, which equals 86. All right? Her name, Kamala Harris, equals 86. Pitch Black Match equals 86. And Teddy Pendergrass, the singer of Turn Off the Lights, equals 86. And remember, he died on January 13th. And if you measure from Kamala Harris's birthday to January 13th, it's 86 days. And Kamala Harris is tied to this power outage narrative because one day after her birthday in 2022, the movie Black Adam came out, which was all about the god with a lightning bolt on his chest. And again, referencing to the black. All right? Go watch my decodes back in October about those very things. Also notice that Teddy Pendergrass sang the song Turn Off the Lights, which equals 82. And January 13th, the day he died, equals 82. And tying back to this match, called the Pitch Black Match, the wrestler in the match is named LA Knight, which equals 82. Just like Turn Off the Lights, just like January 13th. Now, I want to talk about WWE Day One, which also equals 82, just like LA Knight. So back on January 1st, 2022, WWE held an event in Atlanta, Georgia. Remember, I just told you guys that last night there was a kicker named Noah who lost the game against Georgia. Remember, Georgia won the national championship last year, and they just advanced to the national championship last night again. Notice that it was held at State Farm Arena in Atlanta, Georgia, just like this year's Super Bowl is held at State Farm Stadium in Arizona, okay, which has also been connected to power outages. But the reason I'm connecting this Day One is because I want to explain this narrative. So the reason that WWE named this event WWE Day One is because it was on the first day of 2022. And WWE was supposed to have another event today, January 1st, 2023, called Day One. They were supposed to have the same event, just this year was for 2023. But they canceled it. Okay, and the reason I believe they canceled it, before when I saw they canceled it, I couldn't figure out why, but now I understand. The reason that they canceled this match is because they want you to calculate from Day 1, 2022, January 1st, and they don't want you to stop. They want you to repeat. They don't want you to repeat and start over. They want you to keep counting. So what I mean by that is January 2022 was the first month. But that means that January 2023, because there was no Day One, is the 13th month. And I've been talking about the 13th and the 13 number. Remember, the first guy we saw yesterday in the Ohio State-Georgia game after it was over was number 13. And I've been talking about Friday the 13th, January. All right? So that means that if we calculate it, this month is the 13th month since Day One. All right? And that means that January 13th, 2023 is the 1 year and 13 days since Day One. And that is obviously also written, January 13th is also written 113. Now, this connects to LA Knight, who's in the Pitch Black match, because LA, the abbreviation for Los Angeles, equals 13. And remember, there's been lots of predictive programming for LA and power outages. Remember, there was a show called 911 The Blackout where LA gets a power outage, okay? And just look at LA, guys. It's connected to 13 in two different ways. LA equals 13 and 41, and 14 is the 13th prime. All right? I just connected the death of the singer of Turn Off the Lights on January 13th, 2010. Turn Off the Lights equals 82. January 13th equals 82. WWE Day 1 equals 82. And LA Knight, who's in the Pitch Black match, equals 82. And look at Day 1, guys. It equals 82, 28, 82, and 28 in the 4-base ciphers. Okay? And you guys will remember that on December 8th, there was a power station attack with guns. They were shot. These power stations were attacked in Oregon, Washington, and North Carolina on December 8th. Remember, guys, the pitch black match is on January 28th, which is written the same way as December 8th. December 8th is written 128, and January 28th is written 128. And they're having a pitch black match on 128, just like they had a power outage because of attacks on the power stations on December 8th, 128. And power grid equals 128. Do you see? So again, guys, this pitch black match on January 28th. But again, this is tied to the 13 because LA Knight is in this match, and LA equals 13. And 41, which is the 13th prime. And again, guys, I already told you all that happened with Japan and how it's connected to that date. So is there going to be a power outage in Japan? Is there going to be a power outage here? More attacks on power stations? Something going to happen with Kamala Harris and Joe Biden? What is going to happen this month? I don't know exactly, but I know that there's a lot of predictive programming. So anyways, guys, I hope you were able to get all that, and I will see you guys in the next video.